City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Member Doris,
Present.
Molly,
Present.
Mann,
Present.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chairman Christ,
Present.
Mayor Chairman Pierce.
Here.
We have a quorum.
What'd you guys do? Go to fancy schools and they taught you to say present instead of here?
That's how they taught us in school.
In Palmdale, they just taught us to say here. I mean,
You forget I was from Palmdale too.
he did live down the street, but, okay. John Metters. From Christian Life Assembly.
Let's stand and pray. Lord, we thank you that we come to you again. I thank you for the motto on the walls of this chamber, Lord, that in you we put our trust. Pray that you would guide our city council tonight, give them wisdom, protect them, Lord God, watch over them. Lord, I also pray for our city, Lord, for the streets of our city, that you would help people drive safely and pay attention, Lord God. Pray for many who are under the control of substances, that you would deliver them from these substances and give them victory over them. And Father, we pray your hand of protection over our entire city and the people, Lord God, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Laura, will you lead the pledge?
I'd love to. Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
Thank you. City Manager, any agenda items to be removed?
It doesn't need to be removed, Mayor, but NB1 will be moved to PH7. It was properly noticed as a public hearing and will be moved up on the agenda.
So when I get there and start stumbling, somebody help me out, okay?
And say that again, Jason. Which one? NB1 is going to be moved to public hearing 7.
Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. Are there any items on the California Choice Energy to be removed?
No, sir.
Thank you. No speaker cards? Is there a motion for the approval of the California Choice Energy Authority consent calendar?
Motion to approve the California Choice Energy consent calendar.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Let's vote. And it passes unanimously.
We need to pull CC 10.
Okay. Anything else needs to be pulled? Okay, we're good. Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar absent item 10?
Motion to approve the consent calendar as currently comprised, pulling CC 10.
Is there a
Second that.
Second?
Yes, I second it.
Okay, let's vote. And it's unanimous. Who's recused? Oh, it's just for Howard? Okay. Fran? What? Yes.
Who's in your spot?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and all the council members and staff, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fran Sarasaris, and I just want I just have a question. It might just be a clarification that I need on item CC 10, on the Third Amendment to amend and reinstate agreements for the collection of solid waste. Because this we talked about before. So what does it mean? I mean, make sure I'm reading it right.
Yeah, so we have a contract with Waste Management to do solid waste collection. I don't want to say on a regular basis, but oftentimes it's necessary to update that agreement. Either services change, laws change as it relates to different types of collection services. This contract makes a number of changes, one of which complies with state law, and some other is streamlining some of the services they provide.
Does that, you're not gonna increase it though, are you?
We're not on this item.
Okay, thank you. That's what I needed to find. Thank you very much.
Let's talk about, but we are going to increase it. They, their wages go up, fuel goes up, everything goes up for waste management. They look to the city to compensate for those.
But what happens to us seniors and all of us that aren't fixing? Our income doesn't go up.
You should call your congressman and your assemblyman and your senator and all those people that keep making those goofy laws in
Those
Sacramento.
other ones responsible for all this stuff, huh?
Well, they made the different laws that we have to respond to. So when we have to respond and we have to have an additional charge because of what they did, then yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified, because I wasn't sure how this really worked, so thank you very much. So now I can go fight, no.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll save that for Michael, because Michael's gonna.
Thank you, Fran.
Motion to pass CC 10.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Let's vote. And it's unanimous. Moving on to public hearings. We'll move PH 5 to this portion of the agenda. The public hearing is now open. Are there any speaker cards?
For,
PH1?
yes.
PH 5, we brought it to the front.
Oh, we brought it to the front.
We good?
No, not for PH 5.
Anybody have a burning desire to hear the report? Hearing no one. We'll waive the reading of the staff report. Any discussion? Is there a motion?
It would be appropriate to close the public hearing.
Oh, I gotta close the public hearing. Isn't that really a construct? No.
It's so there's clarity as to what was a part of the public hearing and what was not. That is why we do it.
All right, it's closed. Is there a
Thank you.
motion?
Motion to adopt resolution 23-47.
I'll second that motion.
Let's vote.
Yeah, and at this time, staff is now going to tally the votes, and we will come back to you with the vote tally and have you act. So just hold on that. Once we've tallied the votes, that's why we brought it forward, so we could do the tally while we're handling the rest of the public hearings.
Good.
Okay? So it would be
Told you they were
appropriate to
gonna
go to
confuse us.
PH1 now.
Moving now to PH 1. The public hearing is now open. We do have a speaker card, of course. And so let's hear the staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Travis Lang. I'm a supervisor 2 in the Community Development Department. If approved tonight, this item would adjust the trash service charges by 3.5%. This is significantly less than the standard CPI increase of 7.44%. The amount on the property taxes for the current fiscal year from October through June was $37.55 per month. This change would take that monthly charge to $39.94 per month, which would be a total of $479.28 for the year. This would also include a fee of $1.08 per month to cover costs associated with the state AB 939 regulation. If approved, city staff will work with the city's consultant, Harrison Associates, to provide the necessary documents to the county tax assessor and place these charges on the property taxes for single-family dwellings. The information required by the county is due in August. In addition, this year the senior discount will be on the property taxes. So anyone that signed up for the discount and qualified will see the actual discount on their property taxes, will not have to wait for a refund. The senior discount annual rate is $375.48 for the next fiscal year, and the monthly rate is $31.29, which also includes the $1.08 AB 939 fee. That concludes my presentation. I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I have none.
I have a question. So what if you're renting? Who pays for the trash?
It would be on the property taxes, so the owner of the property would pay that initial cost of the property taxes. And then for the landlords that have contacted me, which there have been many, I basically explained that it's between them and the person that's renting as to whether or not they decide to place that on the actual rent for the property.
So if we assume that the landlords are charging as much as they can charge, in a free market economy, this is actually a savings to the renter, isn't it?
Possibly.
I mean, it seems to me it might be. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So Fran, what do you think? You like that? You like that? It's not being passed on to the person renting? Hmm? Well, I mean, I wish everything was free, but it's not. Okay.
We voted, like 3 years ago. The majority is getting like a 7.5%.
Okay, is there a motion?
No.
Oh, Michael Reeves. You must be running for mayor again. I never see you until about 6 months before the election. I mean,
Mayor,
it's a
council,
pattern. It
ladies
has
and-
been 15 years you've been doing that.
Thank
Can I make the observation?
Mayor, council, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here tonight to protest any increase in the waste management costs, and also to make a comment about it being put on our property tax bills. Now, when it was put on the property tax bills, for a second I thought, well, this, I don't have to deal with it every 3 months. But then a lady wrote to the Valley Press, and she said, wait a minute. You're going to have to put money in your escrow account to cover that. And if you don't have money in your escrow account to cover it, they will increase your mortgage payment. And that's exactly what it has done. Unless when you pay your mortgage payment, you pay them $200 or $300 more a month to cover this waste management on your property tax bill. Otherwise, they'll come back to you and say, okay, Mike, you owe us $500. You can either pay it up front or we will increase, we're good people, we will increase your property tax bill to cover it. And so you're screwed. I understand that Waste Management still charges the commercial people in town every 3 months. Palmdale bills their people every 3 months. Universal Waste Management down in the South Bay and that area, they charge it every 3 months. Please put it back to 3 months. If you get in a bind and you can't pay it because it's increased because of the organic waste and all that stuff, you can use your credit card. But if you leave it on the property tax bill, we get screwed. And another thing that woman pointed out, like tonight, we're going to increase the ceiling for waste management. Well, this is going to go on forever. So in 10 years, it will increase 30%, right? 3% a year times 10. Please take it off and bill us every 3 months. If you have to increase it, okay, I can deal with it, but I can't handle it. And I know there's other people on your property tax bill. Thank you very much. By the way, my comments are my own. They don't reflect any council board or anybody else. Thank you.
Any other comments? Michael, I wish we could do it for free. I wish there wasn't anything called inflation. I wish that landlords and the utilities hadn't raised their rates through the roof as soon as the minimum wage went up. I wish the world was fair, but it's not. And the state makes us do things. It's regrettable. The The plan that they came up with, I think, is the best plan out there, simply because so many people were not paying their trash bill at all. And the people who were paying their trash bill had to pay for them, which seems to be the way this state is going, where, you know, I mean, it's beyond my comprehension why people think they can take their trash and put it in somebody else's bin. But that's what they were doing. By putting it on the tax rolls, it now makes sure that everybody is accountable for their own trash. It will ultimately bring those rates down because we're not paying for everybody else, for the people, for the freeloaders. It used to be there was this many freeloaders out there. Now there's this many. And it's disrupting everything. I wish it wasn't that way, but it is, and we have to deal with it. And we deal with it by making changes in the best way we can. But I think in 15 years, this is the first time that you actually appealed to me with what you were saying, and I wish I could help you, but I can't. Okay. Shall we vote? Oh, well, we need a motion. Oh, I got to close the public hearing?
Yes.
Damn. Okay. It's closed, okay?
I'll move to adopt resolution 23-43.
Second that?
Let's vote. And I want you to know I was tempted to vote against it because of the election coming up. But then I realized I'd never been that way before, and I don't want to start. So, just so you know. PH2, is that where we're at?
Yep.
So.
No
that's-
speaker cards?
No, but I still got to open the public hearing, don't I?
Yep.
Open the public hearing,
We can waive the staff report,
waive the staff report, and do I have a motion?
close the public hearing.
Oh, close the public hearing. Now do I have a motion?
Move to adopt resolution 23-44.
I'll second that motion.
Let's vote. Passes unanimously.
You get 5 tries.
PH3, we will now open the public hearing.
We can waive the staff report.
Let's waive, hold on a second. Oh, we'll waive the staff report. Is there a motion?
Close the public hearing. We got 2 more for you.
Let's close the public hearing. Now, can we have a motion?
Motion to adopt resolution 23-45.
Is there a second?
Second that?
Let's vote.
You have to announce that.
Oh, it's unanimous. I was getting all excited about opening the public hearing and getting the next one right. Let's open the public hearing on PH4.
No speaker cards.
Let's waive the staff report. Let's close the public hearing.
Motion to adopt resolution 23-46.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Let's vote. No applause? I got it. All right. PH5. Open the
We
public
now
hearing.
have, we have opened and closed the public hearing on PH5. That was the first one we did. We now have the tally, and it
I told
was.
you you were trapping me.
I
knew
know,
it.
I know. Now, once you thought you had it down, I'm going to change it up on you. The tally came in at 6 yeses and 1 no, which means there is no majority protest. So if it is the council's pleasure, you may move approval of item PH5, which is resolution 23-47.
Motion to adopt resolution 23-47.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second that?
second it.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Let's vote. It's unanimous. All right. Now we can go to PH6, right? We open the public hearing, right? Good. Any speaker cards?
No speaker cards.
We'll waive the staff report. Let's close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Motion to adopt Resolution 23-48.
Is there a second?
Second that?
Let's vote. Now, you see how your mayor's a quick learner? Passes unanimously. PH 7.
No speaker cards.
Let's open the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Close.
Oh, I gotta close. Is this absurd or what? Open the public hearing, it's total fantasy, and close the public hearing before we can vote.
Yes,
Tell me how that makes sense.
it's so
Never
that,
mind, don't. Let's waive the staff report and let's vote.
Motion to introduce ordinance number 1104.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Let's vote. Passes unanimously. Couldn't we just do this over the internet? Just a thought. So are we on 8?
JPH 1, the joint public hearing.
Moving on to the joint public hearing. The public hearing is now open. Any speaker cards?
We have no speaker cards.
Should we hear the report anyway? Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want George crying. He put a lot of work in it.
As you know, this is a time for our budget. Our last council meeting, we did a long presentation. This is just a short synopsis. As you know, through the budget process, we open it to the public for scrutiny. We obviously get council input on that budget and allow the public to view it. We also took this budget before the Measure LC committee, had their input as well, and through that process, there were no changes from the original presentation. Our budget remains to be a revenue budget of $318 million this fiscal year. That's a total budget with a projected ended balance of $226 million. General fund, which I know that you mostly are concerned about because this is the flexible money that is spent on the things that the citizens most often. We're presenting a balanced budget this year from an operational perspective, and the cool part is we're spending about $30 million in additional capital improvements, which may improve those facilities that our citizens find so valuable. And that leaves a total reserve of about $43 million. That matches our reserve requirement of about 42%. That allows comfort not only for emergencies, but also any cash flow issues that may exist and/or business opportunities as they come about. What we're asking you to do tonight is adopt Resolution 2349, adopting the City Council's fiscal year general fund operating budget, adopt Resolution 2350, establishing the annual appropriations limit, and adopt Resolution 2351, which is a salary and benefits resolution. And one additional note is the California Choice Energy Authority is on here as well. As you know, you serve as the board for the California Choice Energy Authority. There's also a resolution there, CCEA 0123, adopting the budget for that agency as well. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know the conversation at our last council meeting was about carping, and I'm sure Vice Mayor might want to add to that. But we do have meetings scheduled with Contract Law, Allison, and Marvin to find out what opportunities exist.
Is the city attorney going to give us options?
so we are having the meeting with the county, and the options will be more clarified after that meeting.
Okay, it's my desire not to have carping in Lancaster anymore. How do we accomplish that and still approve the budget?
The budget doesn't approve the contract for the Sheriff's Department. We have held that contract, not only the contract, but also the attaching documents that identify service levels. So this budget is only approving the appropriation of funds, right? At some point in the future, once negotiations, the relationship or the conversation happens, we will then come back with an amended agreement, hopefully, removing carping, come back with an amended budget, which you have absolute authority to amend at any point in time with an amended budget so that we're not paying for carping. Or if there's any legal opportunities that may exist through this process, either not paying and becoming the defendant or causing lawsuits to happen and them becoming the defendant, I guess, in that case.
The plaintiff.
The plaintiff, sorry.
But you have clarity that the council does not want carping?
We have, Chief and I and George know very well that there is not going to be a bill paid until you guys give us the go-ahead.
Okay, and you understand it doesn't reflect on the sheriff department as a whole. It reflects on the safety of our deputies and that they're working too much overtime, too much, and we're not getting our money's worth. So I just think we're in a better bargaining position if you take direction from the council that we do not want carping, period.
We understand that.
How many officers are we down? 48. 40.
But that's
What
not, a-
percentage of the entire, of the Lancaster department is that?
20%.
16%,
18.
18%. I had a deputy on the stand last week. I'm in a trial down in Los Angeles. He got there with 4 hours sleep. 4 hours sleep. Because he's working double shifts. He works all the time, and then he has to go to court. That's insane. I mean, you shouldn't be driving when you're that sleep deprived, let alone making judgment calls out in the field. You know, I understand that I don't think this is a sheriff's department problem. I think it's a county problem. You know, in my law firm, when we need lawyers and we can't hire any, we raise the money, and then they want to come work. It's pretty simple. It's been working that way now for 250 years, right? This is a county problem. They need to adjust their budget. They need to hire us those deputies, or we're going to see more and more and more tragedies. You cannot expect these men to be working that much time and make good judgment calls. Do whatever you have to do, Allison, whatever you have to do. I understand that other cities are going to join with us on this, but this has been going on since before I was elected. I mean, you know, we fire people if they can't solve a problem in 15 years. You know? Do whatever you have to do to make them solve this.
Understood.
It's a travesty. I mean, the one job you should not be sleep deprived in is the job where you're carrying a gun and have to make judgment calls whether to use it, right? But I want to be clear, this is not a department problem. This is a Board of Supervisors problem.
I agree. Can I make one point?
Sure, of course.
The 40 deputies that were down is just a reflection of the carping. That's not total deputies. We're in the 70s, aren't we?
We have 40 vacant, one position, another 18 on the billable personnel.
So they're working overtime to make it up.
So there's a total of 58 missing from our department.
So then that's 24%, not 18.
Oh, it just, I did talk with the supervisor, and the supervisor was unaware of it, and her husband used to carp before he retired, and she thought it was a long-gone system. It's not fair to the community. It's not fair to our deputies. It's just somebody in some city has to stand up, and I think it's time that we do that.
Understood completely.
So when I make a motion, I want it understood, no carping.
Understood.
I'll make the motion, we adopt Resolution 23-49, adopt Resolution 23-50, adopt Resolution 23-51, and adopt Resolution CCEA 01-23.
I don't think you can do that. You didn't close the public hearing.
Gotcha, touche.
Get to repeat it.
I was just practicing.
We'll close the public hearing. Does he have to say it again?
He can just say, I restate my motion.
I restate my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Let's vote. You know, during that trial, it was yesterday, my assistant went to walk to the store to get something and to bring back to the court. And she comes back and she's terrified because of all the homeless she had to walk by. And apparently it wasn't the best experience, her walking by them. And then I get home today and look at Facebook, and a young woman her age was stabbed by somebody as she walked by, just randomly. That's what's coming if we don't do something. It's already in LA. You cannot walk the streets. It's no longer something that it may occur. It is occurring. Okay. Thank you. Let's move on to council reports. Any council reports?
I believe me, you, and Raj, myself, we had a good time at the Juneteenth event.
We sure did, didn't we?
Yes, very loud, very well attended. Multiple, had to be close to 3,000 people there, and it was a great event all day. I was there from 7 a.m. I think with our parks director and Mr. Chatters, and the stakeholders did a great job, and just a wonderful event. I was tired when I got home, but it was a great event.
What about the food?
Food was good. They didn't have any vegan options that I got a hold to. By the time I got there, it was gone. I'm trying to stick with this vegan stuff, but it's really being a challenge.
Wait a minute, don't you sell briskets every
Yes. That's, you know what's so crazy is when you're tasting your food and spitting it out so that you can, it's such a oxymoron. Y'all pray for me. I got to cook some for 4th of July, and but it was an amazing event. And I could tell people were really glad you came and Raj came, and just, this thing, it could be one of the next largest events that Lancaster has, as big as it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It was really family.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really was.
Families everywhere. It was a great event. I enjoyed every moment I was there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We do have a video for anybody who didn't attend, so we'll play that video now if it's okay with you, Mayor.
Sure.
Come on, everyone out there, come on, clap your hands. Come on, open up your mouth and give God worship. Come on, open up your mouth and give God worship. If you ain't scared to name the name of Jesus, come on, give God worship. Hallelujah. And we want to present this to you. It says, in special recognition of Ronald Shatters III for your hard work, dedication, and relentless support to the Lancaster Juneteenth Committee. Here this is for you, sir. Oh, and he's crying. That's what I wanted. He's crying.
Juneteenth is celebrated twice a year. If no one didn't know this, it's actually celebrated in the East Coast when the Emancipation was first read, January 1st, and it's celebrated for June 19th in Texas. Then, so those are actually the two places that actually celebrate first. Then it became a federal holiday, and so now we all can enjoy it because as times and years go, we've all moved across the country. So for us to come here and be able to enjoy celebrating this wonderful community, the AV community, the Lancaster community, the Palmdale community, and have this wonderful event for all of us, I'm ecstatic.
Wow, is this thing incredible or what? Look at this. This is truly amazing. This was all done by the community partners. The city didn't do this. The community did this. I am overwhelmed, aren't you? Yes. It's wow. Fawn is the one. Without her, we wouldn't be standing here now, would we?
Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and thank you to all of the community partners, all of the vendors, all of the sponsors, the city officials, the city of Lancaster. We started this last year. We were overwhelmed with all of the support from everybody that just joined, came out, and looking out into the audience today, we are just grateful for everyone that has came out on this Sunday to celebrate Juneteenth, to celebrate this phenomenal day. And yeah, we're just excited, happy for you all to be here. And thank you once again on behalf of the community partners and especially Ron, who worked endlessly to make this happen. Thank you.
I think we ought to give Ronald a fashion
One last
award,
thing, I want
don't
to
you?
give all the strong fathers in the house. All my men, bark at me, bark. Come on, brothers. All right. What I think was exciting for me was all the community participation, all the different types of events that we have here, the trucks, the different vendors we have. It's just amazing how people just came out and they were here early because I was here at 7. Shout out to Ronald Chatters and all of the community stakeholders.
Look at that
While
fashion.
we're here representing Lancaster, we're actually just a contributor. But the community stakeholders, they really did a great job.
It really is a community-driven effort, and so kudos to them. And that's what was exciting for me this morning, was to see it all come together and come to fruition, because they've been working for many months to make today's event happen.
You know, I'd like to tell everybody that if you really want to improve the quality of your own life, get involved in your community. Look how family oriented it is. I mean, look how much fun it is, and it's free. It changes you when you become part of your community in a very positive way. I hope to see a lot more of this. You know, the communities that do these sort of things, they thrive, and there isn't any doubt about that.
I just want to emphasize the family aspect of this, the fact that we're all here together celebrating such an important cause, and the fact that it's also on Father's Day, you know, the head of the household. Wow, I'm so impressed by the community's ability to come together and celebrate such important things.
It really is. It really is. Happy Father's Day. There it is. There it is.
Thank you. That was great. Moving on with council reports. Anyone else?
Yes, we did have the Secretary of Agriculture come to the fairgrounds to give us a check for $20 million.
Say that again. Say that again. $20 million.
that it's a good down payment on the building. It is truly a community coming together. It is, all our community partners were there. It's the first time I ever had a piece of paper and it was totally full of all the dignitaries that was there. So it was, everybody showed up for it. It's a community effort. It's the city of Palmdale's there, the county of Los Angeles was there, the senators were there, the assemblymen were there, everybody was there. And it's just a great event. So we're looking forward to the rest of them coming through, and it'll be a great thing for this valley. And for the naysayers that are out there that says it's too far, it's, you know, they pick on anything. And they didn't pick on it when it was the only place to get a shot for COVID. It was the only place to go, and it was, it's a center of the valley when it needs to be. And so during an evacuation, we'll get the people there. So I just want to say thank you to all the people that did go. And Jason, you have a film on it?
We are here with Secretary Ross of California Department of Food and Agriculture. First of all, Secretary Ross, thank you for pouring into our community of the Antelope Valley. And I would like to ask you off of that, why the Antelope Valley?
Well, there's a whole list of reasons because it's a very competitive process, of course. But really working with our colleagues from the other first responding state agencies, trying to anticipate the best location. So you start with geography, and then you look at what's already there in existence. But then I just told someone, when you have a unified community that's working the way this community has, it makes it so much easier to say, they've got the will because we're not funding the whole thing. This is just a down payment. And to see the thoughtfulness that went into everything about being truly multi-benefit, multi-function as far as the layout, how the buildings can be used every day of the year. We want to have them for emergency, but we don't want them to just be empty. This community has shown what it will mean for them and really contributing even more to the community of Antelope Valley. Just the fact that it's all of Antelope Valley is very impressive. To be able to be a part of something so meaningful about community. There is nothing like place. Place is people, but place is special when people work together for the common good. And I just want to congratulate you all and say thank you for showing us the way, for being a shining example of what we hope will happen up and down the state.
This is a $90 million project, and what you keep honing on is this community is all together in this. Can you share who we're sharing this project with?
This is an Antelope Valley project. This is the project that we have City of Lancaster, City of Palmdale, County of Los Angeles, the State of California, and the feds. Mike Garcia stepped up. They're giving us some money. So they're all putting it together. I want to emphasize it's not a Lancaster project, but it is an Antelope Valley project.
I think we're engaging in something historic in terms of bringing our two cities to work together. To bring a big project like this that's going to be helpful to the entire Antelope Valley.
What other communities can be excited for this project?
Well, anybody that is in the region at all, within a 75, 80-mile radius, because this is going to be a huge facility, and it's going to help us manage some of the crises we can't see. And we're well known for the fires and the earthquake vulnerability, but there are many other aspects that this is going to be a great service component to all the areas in the region, Kern County, San Bernardino County, and LA County.
So when do we have sticks in the ground?
Hopefully March of '25.
How come so long?
Well, it's next March is when the bids come back and we can start next March. So hopefully it'll be complete. So sticks in the ground is maybe not accurate for me, but maybe March of '24. But they're pushing every envelope that they can to get it done as soon as possible. It's so.
March of '24 is a lot better.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, especially at our age.
yes. I can see yours and Ken's need.
We'd like to see it.
No, it's something that the entire community should be proud of. I mean, this is something that the school district is getting involved in. Like I said, the cities, the county, and everybody. But it all stems from, it showed what could happen during an emergency. And for us to use the fairgrounds as an evacuation center, and not only, but for COVID and what we did during COVID to turn it into a hospital, everybody sees the need. Everybody except for the naysayers, and there's a few out there, but it's something this community really needs.
But it's so easy to complain. You don't have to build anything. You don't have to produce anything. You don't have to come up with a good idea. You just complain, right?
Well, most of the people that are complaining about it, in their 22 years of service did nothing.
Who's complaining?
Oh,
I just gave you a hint.
22 years of service. Who's that?
Jeopardy question.
Huh?
Jeopardy question.
Let me out here.
Your best friend.
My best friend. I don't have any friends.
And from the AVA QMD, we said goodbye to Brett Banks. It was a sad moment, but Brett was, the community turned out to say thank you and give him recognition for what he need. And I said it at the meeting and I say it here, that Brett is the glue that held this community together during the power plant. He is the one that he got threatened with his job numerous times, but he held the community together and he did what was right. So we thank Brett Banks for what he did. He helped start the Board of Trade, which is now turned into the Edge. So all that stuff. We also did the Edge. We said goodbye to Kathy McLaren and said hi to Martin Tompkins, is from ABTA, is the new head of the Edge, and that's the economic development driver for the valley. So we're moving forward. We're moving forward as a community, which is helping us out. And we sit on a lot of different boards, and these boards don't give us much money when we don't work together. When we work together, we get our fair share.
Like $20 million.
Well, that's the start. So,
I think that's the biggest grant we've ever got, isn't it?
no, we got transportation grants of 120 million. So,
Well, that's what bought the buses.
Right.
Oh, I know who my friend is. Mr. Ledford.
Oh,
no one said he was quick.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
You know, just as a point of information that people might be interested in, we are making incredible progress and incredible things are happening. And I'm not going to say none of it would have happened, but a significant amount of it's happening because Marvin's on all of those boards. And so he's able to bring them together. And there's a synergy that he's been able to create that has never been there before. And as a result, we're seeing, I mean, we're moving faster than I've ever seen us move before. I mean, we're still crawling, but I mean, it still takes you 2 years to build a building. But, right?
Well, when you consider that we got the grant money to fix the Avenue K off-ramp in 2012.
over 10 years ago, and we still haven't. It
So
shows you how
we're just
slow.
now starting it. We're starting all the things that it happens, but we got the money to do that with in 2012.
That's a state for you.
That's astonishing. It's true. I have a worry I want to talk about. In that trial, I'm in the middle of it now. I mean, it's a terrible case. I mean, this guy, our client, he was torn literally apart. I mean, the fact that you guys were able to put him together again was so, you know, you came in critical and shouldn't have survived what he did. And it's because of a drunk driver. And in the course of it, I learned that we have an extraordinarily high number of drunk drivers in the city of Lancaster compared to other cities. I didn't know that. Next year, I don't want that to be the case. You know, Fresno has had some incredible success in how they do their drunk driving program, but it's very aggressive, right? I don't really want any more cases like that. And the way we're going to have to do it is we're going to have to do it differently, because whatever we've been doing up till today doesn't work. you know? If that means we stake out the bars, stake out the bars. I want to be much more aggressive. What I don't want to see is checkpoints that take hardworking people's cars because it may have a registration problem. This is for drunk drivers. I don't want it for people who are not drunk drivers, just, am I clear on what I'm talking about? I don't want people's cars towed from those checkpoints unless they're drunk. I mean, it's for drunk drivers. But other than that, I want us to get much more aggressive. Now, we're going to have to do that in a way because we're down the deputies. I mean, I keep throwing things at you and you don't have the men to do it. It's craziness, I know. But hopefully between the two of you, you're going to be able to figure this out. But I'd like to see that issue resolved as best we can. I mean, if people think they can get away with it, they do it. They drink, they drive. And today, we have Uber, for heaven's sakes. There is really absolutely no excuse for it. I mean, what the hell, the bar should pay for the Uber if they have to, you know? I mean, it just has to stop. So would you two guys get really creative, look at what Fresno's doing, and see if we can bring in the CHP. This has to stop, all right?
What would happen if we, as a city, and we as AVTA paid for the Uber ride home?
That's a great idea. Whatever it takes. I mean, we're talking about families being destroyed that fast. I mean, I'm sitting there doing this trial, and it's really hard, the waste of it. It was, you know, I mean, two families were destroyed. The drunk driver's family, you know, he had to go to prison. You know, you got regular people all of a sudden, then it's something we could solve. And I love that idea. What do you guys think? Like it?
I love that. I think it's great.
All right. We should have the bar do it. I mean, I don't want somebody who's not drunk getting.
Well, I think if we look at it and start doing it in a responsible manner, we could have the bar have places for Uber for them to park, so we know that's where they go. We can supply the bar with breathalyzers so that if they leave, that, you know, they're the ones that are calling the sheriff. So it becomes responsible. We're not trying to impound anyone's vehicle or arrest anybody, but just get them home safely.
Right.
There isn't Rex, there isn't a responsibility of the bar to cut people off when they seen that they're.
Yeah, and it has been for 50 years. How
Oh,
well
okay.
did that work?
All right.
You know? I mean, I want real solutions.
Right.
You know, but you know that. Okay, great. Can we have some kind of plan in place in the next month?
Yeah, absolutely, sir. In fact, we did something similar to that where I came from, Sierra Madre, where we, with Marvin's just suggested, we supplied the bars with Uber passes.
Did you steal that idea?
And I'll just add really fast, we just got don't quote me, but I think it's about 200. We just got a $280,000 grant, I think it is, for education, trying to educate the community on drunk driving. So we're getting ready to go hard and fast on that. We can certainly talk about that, sir. That'd be fantastic.
Good. Remember, the goal isn't the arrest as much as it is just to stop the people from getting destroyed. All right? Thanks. Any other reports?
I have one.
Good.
So I just finished a 2-day onboarding with Metrolink, and I'm so happy to report that they are just as committed as Lancaster to sustainable energy and ensuring that we look out to the future being further than 2 years, the Olympics, the World Cup, and how we address that as far as bringing in additional train sets, but then also how are we going to move people I bring up constantly that we have unique concerns as an end-of-line community. So we're going to start exploring that and what that means.
Great. You know, at Juneteenth, I was talking to a bus driver for ABTA, and she was telling me sometimes how dangerous it is to be a bus driver because of what goes on when people get on the bus. I'd like us also to figure out a way to put people on those buses more often. I mean, not whatever it's going to take to make those buses safe. Why would we have a public transportation system that people won't get on because they're afraid to? You know? And when the bus drivers are afraid, that it's telling us something, right? And I know we're throwing all this stuff on you, Rod, that you know, I mean, how do you do it all?
But John, smile.
I guess it's kind of like pushing that rock up the hill, right? It comes down. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Anybody else? Where are we on lowering the mortality rate of the people in the Antelope Valley?
Well, I sent a concept paper. I'm happy to outline it if you'd like to discuss it tonight or do it in the future. But
What would be most efficacious?
I think we could discuss it now. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council. So we were challenged to, John Trong and I, Dr. Trong, to look at how we could improve or lower preventable mortality for the city of Lancaster. And we scanned through a number of reports that happened pre-COVID and post-COVID. We came up with a number of things. There were a number of good reports put out by Public Health that compared our service area and our city in particular with the rest of the county of Los Angeles and nationally. And we came up with 10 opportunities that we could look at that would really make a difference. The data shows that up to 40% of preventable mortality can be reduced through these items. So I want to go through them. 40%. 40%. So 5 of these are at the personal level and 5 are at the community level. So at the personal level, food choices. These things may seem obvious to you, but nevertheless, they're the most crucial things. Food choices to reduce obesity, overweight, hypertension, diabetes. Exercise, regular exercise to prevent and reduce obesity and overweight, hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease, and stroke. Avoiding smoking, reducing risk of cancer, heart disease, and lung disease and stroke, and avoiding misuse of alcohol, as we just discussed, prescription medicines, and street drugs to prevent unintentional overdose, as well as traumas. And early recognition and management of depression and mental health conditions to prevent suicide. So those are the personal level, family level, social circle level. At a community level, these things, what is very clear from public health is that people in countries, as well as in individuals, that people who start off with a good opportunity and develop a good sense of personal wealth also end up having good personal health. So to start off early, the earliest thing is access to prenatal care in the first trimester for all pregnancies. The second is universal preschool for all 3 to 4-year-olds. Reading English literacy proficiency by 3rd grade. 3rd grade is a crucial marker because it's where you end learning to read and begin to read to learn. And once you can read well in English in the United States, you do well in all your classes. You tend to graduate high school, you tend to put off getting pregnant, you tend to go to college, you tend to get a well-paying job, and you tend to get health insurance, probably live in a good neighborhood, and your life is on a different trajectory than if you cannot read by the 3rd grade. Access to safe recreational space close to all areas. We have a lot of recreational space. I don't know if people are utilizing it or if they feel safe there. Access to supermarkets and grocery stores, going back to eating well in all areas. And that's it. So these things seem very basic. In fact, there's somebody probably who works for the city, and I'm pretty sure that we're already working on these things, but not everybody is enjoying all these things within our city. And so, for instance, Head Start. Head Start is funded by the federal government. Everybody should have access to prenatal care, but not every 3 to 4-year-old is accessing that. So we have to find out, what are the numbers and what are the reasons? And some of it may be a communication issue, or maybe an access issue, or maybe that we need additional resources. So those are the items that we identified that would really make the difference. So,
We putting together a plan to actually do something?
well, that is up to you folks. If you're happy with it, we certainly can move forward. And but we sent this to Jason, and hopefully, if you guys want to, we will move forward on looking at each one of these items.
Yeah,
All right,
and
I
Mayor,
want you to
we talked, a lot of what he's talking about, we're already doing. I think probably being a little more strategic about it. Like, we have youth programs, we have community centers, we've got parks, we've got athletics, we've got, some of these things that if you look at checking the box, we are already doing. It's how do we integrate it in a more strategic way and get more people access? So I think that's where we're gonna go with that information, is trying to look to see how do we, within our existing resources and merging other communities or Head Start and some other programs, bringing them together to try to be more strategic about how we deliver these services is key.
Couldn't we put a Head Start program in the neighborhood impact homes?
Yeah, we can, yes, but the Head Start programs have very well funded, and it's probably not the location, it's access to them, right? And
I'm sorry,
knowledge
what?
about them. It's probably not access to them, it's knowledge about them, right? And it's not necessarily that they don't have funding or they don't have locations, it's people getting to them and knowing they exist is probably gonna be probably gonna be a stronger, right, outcome. But yes, we can put them in our homes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that seems to be something we should be focusing on. If it's funded by the federal government, all we got to do is get people there, right?
Right.
Now, you want to be effective in government, you look upstream. You don't deal with it when it's too late. And what we tend to do is deal with it when it's too late, right? I would really like us to focus on this. How do we get these kids into Head Start? It'd be the first thing, seems to me, we should be, because we don't have to pay for it, Right. The third grade reading level, that's going to take some work, but I would like us to figure out a way to get a program, and let's focus on it, because otherwise another 15 years go by and, we missed it. Now we know, right?
They need to
You're
stop
going to
cutting.
continue with a group?
Sure.
And let's keep pushing and pushing and pushing?
Happy to do so.
Okay. Now, how we get people to exercise, I don't know. It took me 20 years to start exercising.
Yeah.
And it's because I couldn't tie my shoe.
My brother sent me a thing that they could get a free bus pass if they do 20 squats.
I thought we had free bus passes as it was. We're going to take the free bus passes away?
No, most people that ride get free bus passes, but that's what it's putting it involved in everything. A lot of this stuff we can help with.
I think what Jason said is right. There's something going on in this city already, but it's not being either well-known about or well-accessed. So we got to understand the delta and how do we close that delta. It would be great to have every child reading by the third grade. I mean, that should be an achievable goal. And I have to imagine every parent wants their child to be able to read by the third grade. And it's a long-term investment, just like all the other things you folks have been talking about tonight.
Okay.
My issue, it's funny you said third grade. I remember working for the county, and it was fourth grade when I worked. Michael Antonovich ran a program, and I actually ran the whole spa. They came up with the same thing, that they built jails off of fourth grade reading levels, because just like you said, if they couldn't read, they couldn't get into the higher education. And we ran into people that were 15, 16 years old that couldn't even read an application. The problem that we also ran into is they keep cutting these programs. So once Michael Antonovich got out and different things, we all went to different departments. So they kill the very programs that they know they need. And you see these kids getting into more and more trouble, because if you can't read, now you're embarrassed when the teacher says, read this. They stop going to class. They start getting in trouble. But there's something else I wanted to add. Rex, I heard you say this years ago, that we have the largest African-American population in LA County also. And I'm wondering, well, close to it. I think we're larger than Inglewood. as far as African Americans as a percentage.
I think that's probably accurate.
Yeah, and so with the death numbers and what goes on with Blacks and Hispanics in our genetics as far as high blood pressure, diabetes, I'm wondering, has the pregnancy issue come up? I'm on a board, and it's very prominent that a lot of African American, number one, Hispanics, number two, and then white women, but Black women, it has nothing to do with education or financial status. They're just dying at a higher rate when it comes to health care. I'm wondering how has that been in the Antelope Valley? Have you guys seen any statistics in that where they're dying at a higher rate like it is in the whole county? Because Dr. Ferreira even addressed it, that something's going on with minority health. Even with women that are higher earners, they're still having issues being listened to about their health.
Right, yeah, so it's a complex mix like everything else between, some of it's genetic, some of it's social, and some of it may be these other social determinants of health, where you live, what you eat, what you have access to, and that sort of thing. And so we each are born with our genetics, and we have what we got to work with what we got. And we can look at our parents and grandparents and our siblings and see what we're at risk for. So that being said, we may have to be even more careful about eating well, like you're doing, and avoiding smoking.
Well, I did it because Rex bullied me and said I was getting fat again. But go ahead.
No, but I think you're on the right track. I think we each, and that's why I said some of these things have to be done not just individually, but as a family or a social circle, and so again, if all your friends are into taking high-powered classes at school, you're probably going to do that as well because that's what your friends do. Those are the kids you're hanging out with. And if you're into sports and all your friends are into sports, you're probably going to be athletic and pretty fit and probably eat pretty well, or maybe not, but you may think about it and learn more about how to take care of yourself to be healthy. So it's a good question. There definitely are differences in different ethnic groups that need to be addressed.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that was running up our numbers because of how we are. This is such a mix.
The public health data does show differences, but it's not uniform, and we saw that as well in the fentanyl data. Some of the substance use stuff. So we have challenges in different groups, but it's not uniform across those groups.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? City Manager.
Yes, Mayor, you may want to touch on the visit from the foreign minister.
I'm sorry, what?
You may want to touch on the visit from the foreign minister. We have a video, and if you wanted to share his visit.
Well, I guess show them the video, and then I can.
All right, here we go.
I'll segue after that. Well, we're this close to having a deal with Japan. Well, we already have the deal with Japan, but it's the companies, Toshiba, Toyota, all of the Japanese, what would be the Fortune 100 or whatever. I mean, it's huge. The plan is to make Lancaster the technological center for the development of hydrogen. That can happen if we partner with Japan in doing it, because Japan has most of the patents when it comes to hydrogen. Now, think about that for a little bit. Saudi Arabia, they're so rich. They have so much money. They buy the PG, what is it, the PGA, right? I mean, it's nothing but money. Why? Because The oil's there, that's all. Hydrogen is without doubt, without any doubt, going to be the next oil. It has to be. It's the only way we survive. It's the only technologically feasible way of coming out of this climate extinction. But what we should be looking at is not just that, it's the money. It's the economic prosperity of it. The Japanese have every intent of coming to Lancaster, and we're talking thousands of jobs around hydrogen, because we will be the hub. We will be the center of it. When we first started doing this or having these discussions 3 years ago, it was maybe, hopefully, I mean, like most of what we do, we're not quite sure we can get there. But what we've seen over the past decade is we get there a lot more often than we don't. This is one of those things. And other than the obvious reasons, the reason we are so engaged is it really is going to change the economic conditions of the valley. I mean, the entire valley. We're going to, already we know, it's happening. It's not maybe going to happen. This part is happening. We will produce more hydrogen in the Antelope Valley in Lancaster than anywhere in the country. We're already talking to LA about supplying LA with their hydrogen. All of that is going to go through the city. The revenue stream into the city is going to be substantial, wouldn't you say? A couple of years ago, we talked about doubling our budget without raising any taxes. I think we're going to get there, and I think we're going to get there relatively soon. Wouldn't you think? In October, I'll be going to Japan to meet with the foreign minister. I don't know how much higher, but it's cabinet level discussions. They only invite you to do that if they're very serious about signing the deal and closing the deal. There's no closer ally that we have than Japan. I always tell them when I go over there, my kids think Toyota is an American car, because of the close cooperation. I don't know if I will see it, but most of you will certainly see it. Well, not you two, but this city will, every house, every apartment, every building is going to be powered by hydrogen, and it's going to be off the grid. And we're not going to be victimized by the energy companies like we are now. We'll be able to lock in the price for 20 years. It's really going to be an incredible solution. I'm excited about it. I hope everybody else gets excited about it. But it's a new day.
Thank you, Mayor. We also had the shout out to our parks team. We had a renaming or a reveal of the community center logo, and we have a short video about that. Daryl Doris joined us and our staff in that effort.
And are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hello everyone, it's Angel from L28 News, and I'm here with Betsy Lupiano, the Community Center's coordinator. So first, congratulations on unveiling your new LCC logo. How does it feel?
It's really exciting, actually. It's exciting to have a new logo for the community center and that the community took part in making that logo happen.
So I did want to ask, what was the motivation behind being open for a year and wanting to sort of rebrand and bring in something new? And then you mentioned the community also was able to take part in that. So what were the driving factors behind changing it and also giving the community a voice?
So we wanted to have our own logo that when people do see it, they know this is for the community center itself, and they associate it with our programming, with exciting filmings, with wanting to come to the community center. So that was the main motivation there, is that we really want our logo to represent who we are and what the community is looking for, what the community wants, and they just see it, they know it, and they want to come.
Okay, so you mentioned community engagement before. Today, we're actually doing a community project. Can you talk a little bit about what that is?
So our community art project that we want the community to be a part of is we are going to have a mural in our multi-purpose room within the community center. It's going to take up a whole big wall. And so the community members have the opportunity to design, paint, write a motivational quote, word, or even just their name on a 3-inch disc that is painted with our logo colors. And so every disc is going to make up our mural that we will have on the wall. So that's kind of another representation of the community being a part of who we are, has built us. And so we just want to make sure we kind of bring in the community again in building that partnership, just that excitement that we really want the community to feel.
I'm here with Lancaster's Community Queens at the LCC logo unveiling, as well as the unveiling of their newest little library. So, what do you guys think is going to be the most beneficial part of having a little library here in Lancaster?
So, I think it's great for kids my age because we love to read books. And when you're young, it's good to read books so you have a strong reading when you get older.
Yeah, I think it would be great for kids because I feel like reading would help improve like language.
I think it's perfect because when I was younger, I would drive by these all the time and stop at them with my mom. And I know a bunch of teens my age who would love to come put these. I have a bunch of books, and I think the series I would bring would be Keeper of the Lost Cities. It was my favorite series in middle school, and I would love for more people to know about it.
For community members who'd like to join your membership program, where can they find that information?
So just go to our website, our social media, all of the information is there on how to navigate to the community center page through the website, and sign up is very easy. They can call us, they can come in, and we can sign them up in-house. But membership gets them in here with priority registration. It gives us their email address so we can communicate with them. We can share our different events. We can invite them in and share what programs we also have that are upcoming, that are happening. And so it just kind of helps to build that relationship with them through the membership as well.
Do we have the numbers on how many people? Do we have the numbers on how many people are utilizing the facility every
I
month?
think Sonia might have those numbers. I don't know if she has them off the top of her head. We do track that.
Don't you love it? Just no warning, you know.
Unfortunately, I don't have them off the top of my head, but I can get them to you. But attendance is increasing every month as we bring in and introduce new programs. This summer, we've got some cool programs. Girls Make Beats. We've got a DJing class, dance classes. So as we introduce more programs, we're getting more people through our doors and more interest in the community center. So it continues to increase.
Great, great. How's the park coming?
It's coming. We're working on our final design and having it out to bid as soon as possible. So we're fast tracking it just for
Terrific. We need to put on the agenda the naming.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't want too much time to go by where we forget what they did for us. You know, Samaritan's Purse saved us, and I don't want that to be forgotten. All right? And then we can vote and decide if that's where we want to go with it. Okay?
Understood.
Good. Thank you.
I'm going to turn it over to Chief real quick, talk a little bit about Legal Nightclub we took down, our mini motorcycle program, and our fireworks enforcement. So go ahead, Chief.
Yes, sir. So we took down another illegal nightclub. Unfortunately, it was operating not too far from here, right near Yucca and Lancaster. And they would open up at 1:30 and go through all hours of the night. We got together with the Sheriff's Department and brought in ABC and others, and went into the location and ended up citing the individual who was running it and shut that one down. So we're now beginning to work on the mini bike or the pocket bike problem. I'm sure you've seen them riding around town. So we're beginning an education campaign with that on that right now with comms. And then we have some enforcement plans coming up with the Sheriff's Department. There's a couple deputies who've been really successful in dealing with those things. So now we're going to start working on it. We're even going to consider whether or not there's an ordinance or a law we can look at that would cause the bikes to be lost by the owners. But the big key is we want to educate the parents and everybody that they are not street legal, and when they buy them for their kids, they're going to lose them. So, and end up in court with the youngster as well. So, and we're also doing an education campaign with comms on the fireworks to try and deal with that issue. The Landcap team is going to be out doing some enforcement on it, so we want the community to know they're not allowed and they're not going to be tolerated. So we'll grow in those efforts moving forward. So, but this is going to be the first year where we're going to kind of really go after it.
Thank you.
You know what, if I can take a
Thank
minute
you.
too, sir?
I'm sorry, what?
I said if I can take a minute too, I got something for you I want to give you here.
Of course.
Oh, he dropped it.
Don't, you got to excuse the jeans. I had a dentist.
That's okay, it's Lancaster, we're good.
I don't want you to have that.
Wow.
Next one will say police department.
Wow. You seen that? Now that is a badge.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Great. Well, welcome, and a couple more, Mayor. Welcome everybody to the 4th of July extravaganza. If you can believe it, the 4th of July is next week. So make sure you attend, participate in celebrating our freedoms and independence. And of course, we got Parks has got a full summer full of opportunities, cool summer nights, LPAC, MOA. They're just, Parks Department's just like, I can't give them enough kudos. They're doing a lot of programming and kicking butt. So thank you guys, and that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Are we ready for the heat wave?
We have cooling centers that I've identified, and our emergency operations department does that on a regular basis. So as the heat wave comes, we will be prepared to open cooling centers as we do every year in every heat wave. So yes.
What about distributing water to the homeless?
If you wish us to do that, that's probably something we could do relatively easily.
If it hits 105, I would like us to do that.
Okay.
It's going to get a very real possibility. We're going to be looking at 115, 120. People are going to start dying when that happens. They could start dying at 105, but let's do everything we can. Let's make sure that water is available to everybody out there. Okay?
Great.
Good. Nicole, you probably have some ideas of what we can do.
Oh, I could talk to you for hours on that.
I'm sorry, what?
I could talk to you for hours on that. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to see unnecessary deaths. So let's do whatever we have to do. All right. Do you see an uptick when the heat hits? You know, I'm also concerned that a lot of people are not running their air conditioners because of the expense, which is understandable. But we have to make certain that, you know, people Marvin's age know that they cannot do that. I mean, okay, Marvin's a year younger than me. But nonetheless, I think we need to start pushing that information out now because it could be on us in a week. All right? I mean, it's shocking what's happening in Texas. Okay. Speaker cards?
This is the time to address the City Council Agency Authority on non-agendized matters. Speaker cards can be found on the back table of the council chambers. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each unless a different time limit is announced. State law prohibits the City Council from taking action on items not on the agenda, and your matter may be referred to the City Manager. Thank you.
Thank you. David Paul.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, good evening. You know, I want to start by saying I'm excited about what the city does and how much it puts into making this a better place to live. And Mayor, you talked about victimization, and a lot of people feel that from the government, the crazy rules and the taxes and all that stuff, and I'm not immune to any of that. I just think that people need to have a place in their mind that is about working for solutions rather than grievance. In the height of my despair with my Juneteenth work a couple weeks ago, I found this tape at a garage sale, and it was called The Confederate States of America, and it's a satire about what if the South had won the Civil War. And it starts with this quote, George Bernard Shaw, "If you're going to tell people the truth, make them laugh, otherwise they'll kill you." So it seems like you need a gimmick, you need to get through, you need to break through. I want to get to the point where we judge a person by the quality of their character rather than the color of their skin. And there is plenty of history that is true and real in grievance, but somehow we have to humanize that and make it funny. I'll have a little story for you. A few years ago, I spoke at a meeting for Trayvon Martin that Henry Hearns put on, the bishop. And I was a speaker after another speaker had got up and said some things that were very racially and homophobic, and it was so I couldn't proceed, but I had to basically say that, yeah, these things are real, but this racism is stupid. And I told the story about Henry. I only told half of the story because of the sensitivity of the moment. But I was on went to a block party that Henry threw in his neighborhood, and I was walking to find him, and he was coming up the street. And I want to tell you, so no one misunderstands, this is the greatest honor of my life. I'm walking up the street, and there's Henry, and he says to me, he said, "Hey, Whitey, we don't let crackers in our neighborhood." And you can hear me tell half of the story. But that was a compliment, a thing that said that you can talk like that if you know it's a joke and still admit all the things. And that's my idea for this city. We need to have a push to where we can compartmentalize and say, yes, these things are real, we're working on them, but we all have to do our best and get off of the fact that we have these grievances. It's real. I know it is. I know terrible things have happened, but we need to put a better face on it. So from now on, it's perfectly okay for any of you to call me the cracker. Thank you.
Well, isn't free speech a wonderful thing? Fran, let's see you top that.
Okay, let's see, what am I gonna say here? Well, good evening, everyone, again. Mayor, members of the board of the, anyway, everybody. Again, I'm Fran Sarasaris, and
Can you make her
Anyway.
mic a little hotter?
in the conversation of this evening, I've put some thoughts together of what I do. I've done this group before. I started it before COVID. It's the Writers on the Move with Metro. We're a group of us seniors. We get together once a month, and we decide to go on Metrolink downtown, and we go to the beach, or we'll go to the museums. We go to different venues and different things. But my job is to be able to teach them how to use the buses, and we decide where we're going to go, and then I kind of log it out and do the logistics of it, and to make sure that it's safe for all of them. But as I was listening to your speaking tonight, the speeches about downtown LA and because I know I go downtown now, I have to go at least 5 times a month, and it could be kind of hard or harsh. But at the same time, I was thinking, well, that's the whole idea of having this Writers on the Move, is to be able to get these seniors out and about, to teach them not to be afraid that as a group we can do something about it, but we have to do it as a group. And I don't think I'm really explaining what I'm feeling, but I know that there's something there that I can do with my group, and we can do something about all these problems that we're not all of them, of course, but problems that we're having. So the thing of it is, I don't want the seniors to be afraid to go out. I want them to get out in the public and enjoy their life, what they have. So anyway, saying that, well, I do got something. I said it this morning. I'm going to say it again because I'm very super proud. And if I can find it with all my other cards here, I am already my time's up. I'm an LA County Commissioner for the disabled and the aging, and boy, is that a wonderful group to be in. And I'm so glad and I'm so privileged to be on it because now I have a little bit more to say because I am representing the Antelope Valley and Lancaster, because Lancaster is not represented down there. So I'm real proud, because I'm proud of being up here, and I'm proud of living in Lancaster. Thank you. Oh, and happy 4th of July, and thank God we have something to celebrate our freedom. God bless everybody.
Thank you, Fran. One last thing. Should we be putting together a group, preferably volunteer group that is engaged in the sports world to figure out how we can benefit from the Olympics coming to LA? I mean, we're not that far from LA. We've got a venue that it's an opportunity I think we ought to at least be investigating.
We do have an internal group who's working on it. It's not a community group. Parks Department specifically is looking at engaging in that conversation. Not only that, but the World Cup as well, about whether they practice facilities. We have the Jethawks. Depending on timing, we might have the event center, things of this nature. So we are already engaged in that. I don't know if Sonia, if you want to go deeper into that, but we can make it a community effort if that may be more effective.
I just want to get as much benefit as we can for the city of Lancaster. Whichever way you think is the most efficacious way of accomplishing that.
Yeah, we could definitely study whether or not community engagement would be more beneficial. But yeah, we've already put together a nice presentation with the help of communications. We've sent that to the Olympics Committee, and we're continually following up with them about hosting practice teams here prior to the Olympics. So we'll continue to do that, and we'll look at ways to engage for the World Cup as well.
Thank you. And finally, in regards to the budget, 2% is supposed to be going to the art, community art, right?
Correct. There's a percentage. Oh, go ahead, George.
Correct. There's an amount set aside every year that goes to public art. And so there are a couple of programs, I believe, that the Parks Department entered into the budget, and it's there.
I would like to explore how we could accelerate expanding the community art that's out there. I find that cities, especially cities our size, that have, great public art, they also have great everything else. It's a gestalt that seems to occur. Couldn't we be bonding it, using the 2% to pay the bond, make it quicker? I'd like you to explore ways to make this quicker and more beautiful.
Okay. We can definitely take a look at accelerating some of those projects. As we approach the end of the fiscal year, I believe there will be some surplus funds available to do that. Look at that. Absolutely.
I mean, the city looks so much different now than it did, but I don't want to. If we could do it faster, I'd like to do it faster.
Understood.
Okay.
We do have, if I may, we do have 2 public art projects we'll be launching within the next few months. The unveiling of the public art on Lancaster Boulevard and 10th Street West called Super Bloom. Its installation actually started this week of the footings, and then we have an augmented reality that will be installed in Prime Desert Woodlands by this fall. So we've been working with artists over the course of the last fiscal year, once we were funded, to have those projects designed and built and installed, so they are coming.
Okay.
Maybe, maybe
I
Sonia,
I just want you to be clear on why. It's not just that it's pretty, it changes the entire community feel. And I've just, I've traveled a lot, and that's what I see. The cities that really invest in art blossom in so many other ways. All right? Thank you. Okay, we all good? The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, July 11th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Since my wife is not home, the meeting is adjourned.